The Detroit night was raw, the air thick with the scent of asphalt and diesel, as a flickering streetlight cast jagged shadows on a crumbling stage. A crowd roared, their voices a tidal wave of hunger and defiance, drowning out the distant wail of sirens. At the center stood a young man, his hoodie soaked with sweat, his knuckles white around a microphone. His words cut through the noise, sharp and relentless, each rhyme a blade forged in pain. This was Eminem, not yet a legend, not yet a name, but a kid from 8 Mile, spitting verses like his life depended on it. No one knew the battles he'd fought to stand there, the nights he'd faced down despair in a city that offered none. But when his final rhyme landed, the crowd erupted, and a spark ignited that would set the world ablaze. It was 1995, and Detroit was a city of grit and ghosts. The streets of 8 Mile smelled of rust and burnt rubber, their cracked pavements lined with boarded-up houses and flickering neon signs from diners that barely clung to life. The air carried the low hum of factory machines, the occasional crack of gunfire, and the laughter of kids playing in alleys, their voices defiant against the weight of poverty. For the people here, life was a daily grind, jobs were scarce, dreams scarcer, and hope was a currency few could afford. In this world, music was a lifeline, and rap battles were the coliseum where the desperate fought for glory. Marshall Mathers, barely 22, lived in a trailer park on the edge of 8 Mile, its rusted trailers sagging under the gray Michigan sky. His bedroom was a shrine to his hustle, cassette tapes strewn across a wobbly desk, lyrics scrawled on crumpled napkins, the air sharp with the chemical tang of spray paint from his odd jobs. He'd grown up here, a skinny kid with a quick tongue, dodging fists and insults in a neighborhood that didn't take kindly to outsiders. Music was his escape, his rebellion, his way to scream back at a world that told him he'd never be enough. He spent nights hunched over a battered radio, memorizing Run DMC and Rakim, his fingers tapping beats on the table, his mind weaving stories from the pain he knew too well. The spark came one winter night, when the cold bit through his thin jacket as he walked past a club called The Shelter. The bass thumped through the walls, the air alive with the scent of cigarette smoke and cheap beer. Inside, rappers battled, their words sharp as knives, the crowd a judge and jury. Marshall slipped in, his heart pounding, his palms slick with nerves. He'd been writing rhymes for years, but never performed. "You gonna choke?" a kid sneered from the bar, his voice dripping with disdain. Marshall's jaw tightened, his mind flashing to his mother's dismissive words, the teachers who'd called him a dropout, the friends who'd laughed at his dreams. He stepped to the mic, his voice shaky at first, then fierce, each rhyme a piece of his soul. The crowd roared, and something shifted. He wasn't just Marshall anymore. He was Eminem. The conflict was brutal and immediate. 8 Mile didn't nurture dreamers, it chewed them up. The local rap scene was a battlefield, where talent meant nothing without grit. At the Shelter, veterans like D-Ray, a towering MC with a silver chain and a sneer, ruled the stage. "You don't belong here, white boy," D-Ray spat after Marshall's first battle, his words cutting through the smoky air. The crowd laughed, their jeers a weight on Marshall's chest. At home, his mother's boyfriend, Carl, was no better, slamming his fist on the table, the trailer reeking of whiskey and resentment. "You're wasting your life on this nonsense," Carl growled. "Get a real job." Marshall's mind churned. Doubt was a poison, and it seeped in deep. The development was a grueling climb through despair and defiance. Marshall worked dead-end jobs, dishwasher, delivery boy, his hands raw, his body exhausted, but his nights belonged to the mic. He wrote in stolen moments, his lyrics a tapestry of his life, the trailers peeling walls, the fights at school, the hunger that gnawed at his gut. He battled at the shelter weekly, each performance a war against the crowd's skepticism and his own fears. Some nights, he bombed, his rhymes stumbling, the booze like knives. Other nights, he caught fire, his words slicing through the air, the crowd's cheers a fleeting drug. He befriended a DJ named Proof, whose quick laugh and sharp beats became his anchor. "You got it, man," Proof said one night, the club's air thick with sweat and adrenaline. "Just don't stop." The conflict deepened when a local promoter, Reggie, offered a shot at a demo tape, but with strings. In a back room that smelled of stale pizza and ambition, Reggie leaned back, his gold watch glinting. "You're good, kid, but you're a risk," he said. "Lose the personal stuff. Nobody cares about your sad story." Marshall's fists clenched, his mind racing. His rhymes were his truth, raw and unfiltered, his mother's struggles, his anger, his dreams. To strip that away felt like betrayal. "I'm not changing," he said, his voice low but steady. Reggie shrugged. "Your call. But you'll stay nobody without me." Marshall walked out, the night air cold on his face, his heart torn between compromise and conviction. The climax came at the shelter's annual rap battle, a night when Detroit's best collided under a haze of smoke and strobe lights. The crowd was electric, their shouts shaking the walls, the air heavy with the scent of beer and anticipation. Marshall was the underdog, facing D-Ray, whose reputation was ironclad. The stage was a worn platform, its wood scarred from years of battles, the mic crackling with static. D-Ray went first, his rhymes vicious, tearing into Marshall's background, his race, his dreams. The crowd roared, their laughter ablaze. Marshall stepped up, his heart hammering, his mind a storm of doubt and fire. He thought of his mother's dismissive words, Carl's fists, the nights he'd gone hungry. Then he rapped, raw, unapologetic, his verses weaving his pain into power. Each line landed like a punch, the crowd's jeers turning to cheers, their hands rising in rhythm. When he finished, the room exploded, D-Ray's head bowed, the stage his. Proof grabbed his shoulder, shouting, "That's you, man!" Marshall's chest heaved, his eyes burning with tears he wouldn't let fall. The truth spread like wildfire. A scout in the crowd, sent by a small label, recorded the battle, the grainy video hitting X and catching fire. "Kid from 8 Mile owns the stage," the caption read, and soon, producers were calling, demos requested. Marshall didn't chase the fame. He kept writing, kept battling, his trailer now a studio of dreams. The denouement came months later, when a package arrived, a cassette of his first professional demo, sent by the scout. He played it in his room, the air warm with the scent of coffee and hope, the beats filling the trailer with promise. Proof sat beside him, grinning. "You're gonna make it," he said. Marshall nodded, his throat tight, seeing not just his own future, but the kid he'd been, proving the world wrong. As Eminem's star rose, his journey from 8 Mile became a legend, a testament to what talent and tenacity can do. From a trailer park's shadows he forged a path through pain, his rhymes a ladder out of despair. His victory wasn't just in fame, but in defying the odds, in turning his darkest moments into a beacon for others. Sometimes, the hardest battles, fought in the grimmest corners, birth the greatest triumphs, proving that even the darkest times can spark the brightest victories.